In a 6-2 system, there are always two setters on the court, and they are always positioned opposite from each other. As you can see here, the back row setter in the number 1 serving position, and the other setter is in the front left position. The other players in blue are all hitters. However, in a 6-2, whichever setter is in the front row, in this case the front left player, becomes a hitter. So only the setter in the back row is the player that will do the setting. This is why the setters are positioned opposite each other. It prevents them from both being on the same row together. So for this video, I'm going to change the color of the front row setter to blue, since they are a hitter, but I'll keep it labeled as setter so you don't forget that player is actually a setter. Now for this section of the video, we're going to review the proper positioning in a 6-2 for serve receive. In a 6-2, the setter does not defend against the serve. The setter will get into position next to whichever front row player that's in front of them, and once the server serves the ball, they immediately move to the front middle of the court and get ready to receive a pass from likely one of the back row defenders. So in this example, since the setter is in the serving position, on serve receive they are going to scooch up next to the player in front of them like this. Notice they are on the outside of the player, so when the serve comes over, they move into this general area getting ready to receive a pass. Now let's talk about what everyone else should be doing on a serve receive. If you're in the back row, it's easy, since there will always be one setter with you on the back row, and now you know that the setter will not defend against a serve. That means you and the other hitter have to cover the entire back row. This is true regardless of which position the setter is in on the back row. If you're a hitter and you're on the back row, you have to split the backcourt with the other hitter in the back row. So the starting position would look something like this. And maybe the front row middle player will play a little farther back against a good server. But generally the front row hitters on a serve receive are in this basic formation. Let's go ahead and rotate everyone one position so we can review how the basic setup is pretty much the same there as well. Now we can see the setter is in the back middle row. The proper position on serve receive has the setter moving up right next to the player in front of them. In this case, the other setter who is actually a hitter since they are on the front row. Then just like the last position, the two hitters in the back row have to cover the entire back row, and the front row hitters stay a little behind the 10-foot line. Then once the serve is hit, the setter moves up into the front middle part of the court and looks to receive a pass. Let's reset, then rotate everyone one more time to see what that position should look like on serve receive. Just like with the other two positions, the setter moves up next to the player in front of them, still being sure to position themselves on the outside of the player. Then the back row hitters need to spread out and cover the entire back row just like they have been in the other two examples. When the serve is hit, the setter moves to the front middle part of the court getting ready to receive a pass. See? It's not too complicated, right? Let's reset again. And this time, as we rotate, you'll notice that the setters are moving into different rows now. The setter who was in the front right position is now in the back right position, and the setter who was in the back left position is now in the front left position. Remember what we said earlier? The setter that is in the back row is the only one that sets. The setter that is in the front row becomes a hitter. So now I'll change the colors because there is a different person who is setting on the court. Usually when this happens, the new setter will announce to the team, "New setter," just so everyone is reminded that they want to try and pass to a new person now. At this point, the serve receive positions are the exact same that we just reviewed. There is just a new person doing the setting. This concludes the section on serve receive. If you have questions or are unclear, I suggest starting the section over and maybe watching it a few more times. That will help it make more sense.